At 19 years old, this game in the background is an absolute gem of an RPG in 2026. Whilst it is actually an MMO, the single player elements of this game are so amazing that I just want to focus on that during this video, and on arguably one of the most important things, the story. Now, if you don't recognize the scenery, we are currently in the Shire, playing Lord of the Rings Online. We're just looking at some random hobbit houses here, but if we turn around, we can actually see Bag End, the home of Frodo Baggins, who has just left in order to bring a certain ring to a certain volcano. Why am I saying just left? Well, in the game he just has. It is the year 3018, and we are here to help the man. And help Gandalf at times as well. And also Aragorn, when he has quests for us. And then the rest of the Fellowship as well, and on top of that, save Middle-earth. I mean, why not, right? Whilst we're at it, it makes for a pretty great story. But if you would argue that that doesn't mean this game has the greatest story ever done in RPG history, you would be absolutely right. The main quests and also most of the side quests are incredibly well written, but there is a lot of great games out there and a lot of games with an intense, deep and really good story. Why would I name my video the way that I did then? The reason for this, and I'm sticking to my argument, is that I feel like there is no other game that we have the possibility to immerse ourselves into as much as we can with Middle-earth. Why am I saying that? Let me elaborate. I discovered Lord of the Rings Online just over 2 years ago, and I have returned for the third time only recently, and something fundamentally changed. Playing the game for the first time and also for the second time, I did that because I liked the game. The mechanics of the game, the progression of the characters, leveling and single player experience actually feel rewarding and feel great. The story is deep, the ambient of the game is almost unbeatable to me personally. And I do love Middle-earth, so immersion at that level was already great. I had seen the movies and I had at least partially read the books. So I played the game for multiple hundred hours and had a great experience. Now, I recently decided to return for the third time, and this time the game actually blew my mind completely. What had changed? First off, I started reading the books, and I started reading the books before starting to play the game. So in the books I was already past Breland and had all these different locations in my head, in my mind, had a lot of information and immersion due to that. I also decided, why not listen to the Silmarillion? Listening to it as an audiobook has the huge advantage that I can do that next to reading the trilogy. That's one. The other thing is, I don't have to read it. That is another huge plus because that book is an absolute menace of a history book. It is super interesting, the lore is incredibly deep, but I can't recommend reading it unless you are a true bookworm, which I am certainly not. Whilst listening to the Silmarillion can be great and give incredibly deep information, it can also be an incredible pain, especially when Tolkien decides to describe landscapes. It takes a lot of time and you have no clue what is going on at the end. So listening to the Silmarillion is probably my least important tip here in terms of immersion for Lord of the Rings Online. Even though it would certainly have a very interesting impact on your gaming experience, the books themselves are certainly most important, quickly followed by The Hobbit. There is a lot of references and actual gameplay that you can do in this game concerning The Hobbit. And then my second biggest tip is watching YouTube videos. Luckily there is no need for us to read the entirety of the Silmarillion and all the other incredible books that Tolkien has written in order to get a good understanding of this world, the lore, the religion, the history of Middle-earth. Luckily other people have read all there is to read about Tolkien. And these people are making YouTube videos on the history of Middle-earth, on the different characters, on the different timelines, and to me most importantly, on the different locations of Middle-earth. Because that means that when I actually visit these locations, I know what happened here. I know what happened to the Northern Kingdoms. I know why Eregion feels so depopulated. I understand why Khazad-dûm, Moria, is so important to the dwarves, and more importantly, there is references in the quest texts which I can actually understand, incredibly adding to the immersion that I can have in this game. There is a lot of YouTubers who do great videos. The ones that I really like to watch, Nerd of the Rings, In Deep Geek, and maybe my favorite one, Darth Gandalf, give us the opportunity for an incredibly deep understanding and an incredibly immersive gaming experience. So the reason why Lord of the Rings Online has the greatest story that has ever been written in RPG history is because we can make it the best story that has ever been written in RPG history. The quests are great. The quests, main and side quests, are true to the lore. The entire story is true to Tolkien, and therefore it becomes part of the universe that Tolkien has created, and we can use that universe in order to immerse ourselves. I've had the greatest immersion experience that I've ever had in any RPG in my life. So what is my recommendation? Grab the books. Grab the books, start reading them, get to a certain point, definitely past Bree, and then grab a hungry hobbit, grab a grim dwarf, grab an elf, a human, grab all four of them, it doesn't matter. If you're looking for a truly wholesome experience, an immersive one, a crazy one, I can only recommend try Lord of the Rings Online. Little disclaimer, the game is old, it's an MMORPG, it's a bit rough around the edges. You'll have to get used to the experience if you haven't played MMOs before, and again, it's 19 years old, but it is a great game. Guys, thanks for stopping by. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I also stream on Twitch occasionally, usually on Thursdays, and then sometimes spontaneously on other days as well. If you want to say hi, have a discussion, talk about Lord of the Rings Online, whatever, maybe need some help because you've just started the game, I'd be happy to see you there. I'm also looking to do some videos on Lord of the Rings Online in the future, so stay tuned for that. All the best, guys.